Today is Thursday, March the 3rd, 2022, and it's a great day to have a day here on the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. And on today's show, I break down this weekend series as the best rivalry in all of college baseball returns once again as South Carolina and Clemson get set to do battle this weekend in a 3-game set. Guys, I'll break down the series in its entirety. First things first, we'll talk about the Tigers, their pitching, their hitting. Also, of course, South Carolina, the rotation, what to watch for, key player of the weekend, and I will lock in my prediction as well. Also, guys, got a fantastic throwback interview with former Gamecocks infielder Joey Pankake as he details his illustrious career in garnet and black. Guys, we're going to pack show for you this Thursday. And of course, as always, it's brought to you by the Spurs Up Show store. Guys, tsus.store, the best Gamecocks merchandise on the internet. Be sure to stay tuned to all of our latest drops, including t-shirts, hoodies, pullovers, long sleeves, koozies, stickers, you name it. We got it, guys. We've got brand new merchandise in the works as well. So again, be sure to check out all of that for all your merchandise needs. That's tsus.store, tsus.store, the best Gamecocks merchandise on the internet. Let's get it. The tradition, unforgettable moments with unforgettable players, legendary coaches, intensity that is unparalleled. Simply put, the best rivalry in all of college baseball. Folks, happy Thursday. Hope you're all doing well. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Spurs Up Show as always. Hope this show does find you out no matter where you are, what you are doing, and we have got a packed show for you here on this Thursday as we break down the best rivalry in all of college baseball as South Carolina and Clemson get set to do battle yet again beginning tomorrow in their annual rivalry series. Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you all, your love, your support. Before we get going really quickly, I do want to remind you tomorrow, our Carolina Ale House tailgate or alegate, if you will, for the Rowdy Roosters. Very excited. We'll get going at 3:00, go all the way to first pitch. Now, some new information, something I want to update you on. Our friends at Carolina Ale House, I told you before, they're going to provide food. They're going to provide swag. They're going to provide, guys, 200 hot dogs, right? What's better than being out at the tailgate, being out of the ballpark, and enjoying yourself a delicious hot dog with the chili, with the slaw, with the condiments, everything you need. Heckle juice flowing, cold beverages abound. Guys, I don't want to eat them all myself, so be sure you come out again, 3:00 until first pitch. We'll be in lot 1. If you don't know where lot 1 is, it's the lot right outside of left field. We will be out there 3:00 until first pitch. Also, yours truly going to do the Daily Crow live from lot 1 as well. Look for the TSUS and Rowdy Roosters flags flying as well. Going to be one hell of a time. And again, guys, hope to see you all there and appreciate our friends at Carolina Ale House for helping us throw this alegate for the Rowdy Roosters, the best hecklers in all of college baseball. And it's going to be the first of many as we have one hell of a baseball season. Folks, on that note, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in this thing. South Carolina, Clemson, need I say more when it comes the diamond? Tomorrow night at 7:00 at Founders Park, Saturday at 4:00 at Segra Park here in Columbia, South Carolina, and of course, Sunday, the final game up at Doug Kingsmore Stadium in Clemson at 3 p.m. Of course, guys, Clemson of the ACC, their head coach is Monty Lee, a name that we're all very familiar with, obviously used to coach in Columbia under Ray Tanner. He is the head coach there at Clemson. Last year was a rough one for the Tigers as Clemson went 25-27 overall, 16-20 in conference play. So, of course, they're looking to have a bounce back here. And there's a lot of pressure in regards to Clemson baseball because, all the trash that we talk and I talk and, rightfully so, Clemson is a very proud baseball program. They do love their baseball in the upstate. And of course, I posted the stat a couple of days ago that Clemson has been in just one super regional since 2010. And that year, that was 2010, and they lost the Gamecocks twice in Omaha. So again, Clemson has not been able to get over that hump under Monty Lee. They have not made a super regional under Monty Lee. So again, this is basically a make or break year for his tenure there, in my opinion. They're off to a hot start too, 8-0 on the season. You take a look at their schedule, guys. Clemson opening weekend did sweep Indiana. They then beat College of Charleston in the midweek, swept Hartford last weekend, and took care of business against USC Upstate this past Tuesday. So again, Clemson has had success. They've been led. We'll start on the pitching side of things. They've been led by a strong pitching staff, a 2.59 teen ERA. And you look at the starting rotation of who I project they'll throw out there this week. Of course, it's no secret who they'll throw tomorrow, Friday night. Right-handed pitcher Mac Anglin, one of the best pitchers in the ACC, 2-0 record with a 0 ERA, guys. This man has pitched 10 innings this year and has not allowed a single run. Again, you dive deeper. He's got a .6 whip, 2-0, like I mentioned. He's got one shutout, 10 innings pitched, one hit, just one hit in 10 innings, only surrendered 5 walks, and he has 14 strikeouts in those 10 innings. Hitters are hitting just .034 against him. He has hit one batter, but guys, he has been phenomenal this year. So again, you think of that matchup between Anglin and Sanders going to be one of the really, really good ones of the weekend across college baseball. You then look at Saturday, right-handed pitcher Nick Clayton, 0-0 with a 9.53 ERA. And guys, again, Saturday and Sunday is where it starts to get really sticky for Clemson this weekend. Again, though, Saturday, right-handed pitcher Nick Clayton, 0-0 with a 9.53. And then Sunday, they'll roll out right-handed pitcher Nick Hoffman, 1-0 with a 4.5 ERA. So again, Clemson retooling that starting rotation, if you will, sort of like the Gamecocks right now, just trying to figure things out. But certainly, Mac Anglin is the anchor of that pitching staff, and he will lead them tomorrow night and into this weekend as well. When you take a look at swinging the stick, Clemson right now is hot, hitting .329 as a team. You look at the players to watch for, guys. Infielder Cooper Ingle is where you start, leading their team in average, .481 of the year with 11 RBI. You then look at a guy who I forgot he went to Clemson, and a name that you're probably going to be very familiar with. That is infielder Tyler Corbett. And if you're thinking to yourself, Chris, where have I heard that name before? He was the kid that played for Citadel last year that tore you up. He actually transferred there in the offseason. And right now, of course, he's hitting .391 with 4 RBI. And then, of course, a name we're all familiar with, infielder Caden Grice, the two-way, hitting .367, the big first baseman, 3 home runs and 11 RBI. He is tied for the team lead in home runs, and certainly a guy that is one of the top prospects on Clemson's roster. So, again, a Clemson team that, you look last year, and they were a team that, when you look at where it went wrong for them, and certainly, again, I mentioned Caden Grice hit 15 home runs as a freshman. But Clemson last year, guys, on paper, they ranked 9th in the ACC in scoring, 10th in ERA, and 11th in fielding percentage. Now, on paper, they look better, but again, there's a lot to prove for this Clemson team. Now, when we focus on South Carolina, let's start with the starting rotation, because obviously, as of right now, I am recording this on Wednesday afternoon. South Carolina has not announced a starting rotation. All we know is that Will Sanders will get the baseball tomorrow night. Outside of that, guys, we have no idea. And that is a very interesting place to be at. That's a very interesting spot to be in as we go into this weekend series. Will it be Cade Austin on Saturday? Does Wesley Sweat get a look? Does John Gilreath? Does Michael Esposito? Does Noah Hall? We just don't know right now. Those are answers we don't have. And again, I'll be very intrigued to see what Mark Kingston has to say in his media availability before South Carolina takes on Clemson in today's presser, if you will, when he speaks to the media, when he updates the starting rotation. Now, that takes me into what to watch for. And before I dive into everything on the field and the specific matchups and what South Carolina is going to face, you got to start with this. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the best rivalry in all of college baseball, period, point blank, in a discussion, guys. When you factor in the history, the tradition, the fact that these two teams have met in Omaha many a time, the moments, the players, again, the coaches, just the overall, though, the feel of this series and what's on the line, guys. This is a super regional early in the season. It has that type of vibe. It has that type of feel. And I expect that yet again this weekend. And again, people want to look at the first 2 weeks and the records. And of course, South Carolina 7-1, Clemson's 8-0, what have you. Both have had pretty, I think, similar starts to the year in regards to taking care of business against, I don't want to say lesser opponents, but smaller competition, smaller schools, if you will. Okay. Guys, while that's, looking at the numbers and the schedule and who you beat, that's all fine and dandy. And it's good for guys. You can kind of look and get an idea of, this is one of their guys. This is one of their dudes. This guy's had a hot start. But it really means nothing coming into this weekend. It really means nothing because the intensity is ratcheted up to such a level, to such a point that you sort of have to sit back and say, well, we're going to find out who the guys are. We're going to find out who the real dudes are this weekend. We're going to find out who, when the pressure gets turned up, who shows up and shows out, who shines under the lights, right? And again, that's the beauty of this rivalry. And guys, I'll tell you this again, I've been talking my shit all week about Clemson, and I will continue to do so because it's just so much damn fun. But I will say this, as someone who's not only a Gamecock fan, but is also a fan of the game of baseball and certainly college baseball, series like these, this is why you look forward to college baseball. The series like these, the intensity and everything, fans hanging with every single pitch. A series like this is what makes college baseball so great. It's what makes college baseball what it is. And I, for one, cannot wait to take it all in this weekend. Again, the best rivalry, in my opinion. Both fan bases care immensely. The intensity, both teams obviously take it very personally. There's a lot of familiarity between the two schools, the two teams, I should say. Guys who played against each other in high school and maybe played together even. So the return of the best rivalry in college baseball, seeing these two teams go at it yet again. And also, by the way, I should mention this. I keep forgetting this, but I should mention this. Of course, we all know South Carolina took 2 of 3 last year, the 2 walk-offs, both in Greenville and Columbia, and those were awesome, right? And then, of course, you lose game 3 up at their place, but even for that game, you didn't have packed stadiums. You didn't have a packed Founders Park. You didn't have a packed neutral site. Even Clemson wasn't packed. The return of the rivalry with a packed stadium as well as it should be, Gamecocks and Tigers and going back and forth and the beauty of heckling and getting under each other's skin. It's just going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. And I truly do, guys. I truly do say that in regards to just for the sport of college baseball. This series, it will be on display why college baseball is so incredible. With everything going on right now with MLB and the lockout, and they can't figure this out and that out. Take a look. If you're somehow stumbled across this podcast and you're just a fan of college baseball, I highly suggest you tune in this weekend because it's going to be some of the best baseball you'll see. And maybe these two teams are not Omaha bound necessarily, but in regards to just the passion, the energy, the electricity, there are going to be few places more electric than Columbia, South Carolina, and Clemson, South Carolina this weekend for this rivalry series. Now, when we're talking on the field, in regards to the Gamecocks, what to watch for. Obviously, it's got to start with the status of Julian Bosnick and James Hicks. Can one of those guys go? Can they both go? What are we looking at in regards to Bos and Hicks? Because we thought Julian Bosnick would be ready by the Clemson weekend. And, of course, what happens with James Hicks last weekend, I thought he had a blister. I didn't see anything that really stood out of, oh, my God, his arm, whatever. But, nothing has really been updated. And it's sounding like neither guy will go. If I had to guess right now, guys, gun to head, that neither guy will go. But what is the status? How long will they be out? Because, again, this series is extremely important. And that's something I want to go back to as well. Talking about the best rivalry. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but, when people say, well, Chris, who needs this more? I didn't list this as one of my top storylines, right? Of, which coach needs it more and which team needs it more and which team needs, guys, that doesn't apply here. This is a big freaking series, no matter what. No matter what. This is a big deal. It's a big deal. There is no, well, it's okay if we lose. No. It's a big deal. Now, is your season over if you lose 2 or 3 this weekend for either side? No, it's not over. Look at the 2010 Gamecocks who lost 2 or 3 in the regular season and then went on to win a national title and beat Clemson twice in Omaha, right? So it's not an indictment or a guarantee one way or the other, but this weekend is a very big deal. I just felt like I should say that. Again, back to the pitching staff, though. Bosnick, Hicks. What's the status? Because, again, you don't want to rush a guy back just for this weekend. You know, if Bosnick's a guy that, hey, we hold him out, he could be ready for the start of SEC play, then you do that. But at the same time, if they can go, if one of them can go, if both can go, you roll them out there. You roll them out there. But, again, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what Mark Kingston says. Right now, gun to head, I don't think they'll go. Now, with that being said, who fills in the weekend rotation? That's something else certainly to watch for. Who gets the nod? Is it going to be Johnny Holstaff? Do they turn to a Noah Hall or a Cade Austin or a John Gilbert and say, hey, you guys go 6 or 7. You guys give us all you got. How are Justin Parker and Mark Kingston going to piece this pitching staff together? That is the question. How are they going to piece this pitching staff together? You know, does Aiden Hunter get a look? Does Parker Coyne get a look? Who are the guys you turn to, right? Because obviously you're not in an ideal spot right now. You're not. Going into a series like this, you're not. You're not in an ideal spot. Okay? But who steps up? Who's going to be the guys they look at and say, we're going to hand you the baseball. We believe you can do it for us. And, you know, again, simply put, are you able to get enough out of that pitching staff on Saturday and Sunday? Because obviously you're going to have to ask a lot of Will Sanders. I mean, Will Sanders is going to have to throw a gem for you on Friday night. He's going to have to throw a gem and win you a ball game. Okay. And I hate to be the guy that repeats himself. And because I know I've said a lot, well, winning game one's pivotal. Winning games one's pivotal. And that's an obvious statement, right? Nobody wants to play from behind the 8 ball. But I'll tell you guys, with the situation you're in, with the situation you're currently in, winning game one is of utmost importance. It is. It is. On your home field, with your horse on the mound, and you know the issues that you have. You know the issues that you have. On Saturday and Sunday, you got to take game one. Will Sanders has got to be at his best. He's got to spin a gem. And again, that's not to put, you know, I don't even think I could put extra pressure on Will Sanders that he's not already feeling or putting on himself. That, you know, obviously nobody wants to throw well, but, you know, more than him, right? Nobody wants to win Friday night more than him. So in regards to the weekend rotation, the rest of the way out, how do they piece it together? That's my big question going in this weekend. Something else to watch for, guys. And I wrote down here situational hitting, timely hitting, but really just hitting as a whole and the hitters. Again, winning 12-10 is the same as winning 2-1, guys. A win's a win's a win. And in baseball, sometimes you do win with hitting and sometimes you win with pitching, right? This just might be a weekend where, and it might be just a time for kind of baseball right now where until you get Bosnick and Hicks or get people back healthy, you might have to swing the shit out of it, folks. You might have to swing the shit out of it. You truly might. As I said earlier in the week, there are no excuses. Let Clemson make the excuses, guys. It's win anyway here. That's what Carolina baseball is built off of. We win anyway. We don't make excuses. We have players rise to the occasion, and we win anyway. And so, hey, guess what? You got a Johnny Holstaff on Saturday and Sunday? To hell with it. Go hit. Go win anyway. That's it. That's it. Go win anyway. But, of course, anytime you're in a series like this, situational hitting, timely hitting, you know, you've had a bad tendency of leaving the bases loaded this season. Can you snap out of that and be even more clutch than you've been to this point? Also, guys, what I'm looking for is the little things. Again, in a series like this, defense, just flat out execution, getting a bunt down, hit and runs, you know, strategy, being smart ahead 0-2 when you're on the mound. Those things will make all the difference. And those are the moments that really define and separate, you know, who wins and who loses. And I think this is going to be a series where there's going to be a set of 5 or 6 moments that probably determine who wins this ball game, right? And who wins this series, I should say. So the little things, they are the big things. The little things are the big things. Can South kind of do the little things better and set themselves up for success? And finally, guys, something else, just keeping in mind, this goes beyond this weekend, but just knowing that the gauntlet's beginning. This is the beginning of the gauntlet. You got Clemson this weekend. You got Texas the next. You've got Tennessee the following on the road. And then you got Vandy at Founders Park. You'd like to get it off to a fast start and get this W this weekend. You would, because it ain't going to get easier. It's only going to get tougher. It's only going to get tougher. So again, the gauntlet beginning at Founders Park, the gauntlet beginning in Columbia, South Carolina. And again, this is why, though, guys, this is why you play for South Carolina. This is why you come to a school like South Carolina. You want to play against the best of the best of the best. And I can't wait to watch it and take it all in, because you know what? The men will be separated from the boys. You know, fans have been talking about, well, I just feel like Clemson's dominating their opponents and we're kind of struggling and we're having to come back and this, that, even though Clemson beat USC Upstate by 3 runs on Tuesday night, whatever. Either way though. Oh, Clemson's dominating their opponent. Bro, you know what? All that goes out the window. All that's done. We're going to start to separate right now the men from the boys, and we're going to learn very quickly who this team is, what this team is, where the strengths are, where the weaknesses, where's the deficiencies. We're going to find out, because you're not going to be able to hide from this part of your schedule. You're not. You're just not. Hell, and maybe you could skate past Clemson with some of your problems, but I tell you what, if you don't have your shit together for Texas, you don't have your shit together for Tennessee and Vandy, there will be no hiding. There will be no hiding. Guys, this has been my key player of the weekend. And as I told you before, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I really don't, because I've talked about game one so much. And after last year where you went 2-8 in game ones on Friday nights in the SEC, I guess maybe it sort of disproved that, game one doesn't tell the entire story, right? You can lose game one, win the next 2, win a series. But I just think looking at this series individually, when you are in the position that South Carolina is in, you got to win game one on your home field. You're going to have the Rowdy Roosters behind you. We're going to be all good and lubricated up with heckle juice. Rowdy Roosters behind you. Night game at Founders Park. You got to take it. You got to take it, because you know what? Saturday and Sunday might be a bit of an adventure on the mound. They might be. So you got to get a dub from your horse, man. Will Sanders has got to be the dominant Will Sanders. He's got to be, locating that fastball 94, 95 with a velo, spinning the shit out of it, using that plus changeup, being the dude that we saw last year. And again, Will has pitched fine at this point. Will has pitched well. He's pitched well. But he needs to be that dominant guy. He does. He needs to have one of those games, one of those moments, one of those rivalry moments that we look back on the end of the season, we look back on a year or 2 or 3 or 10 from now and say, damn, remember that game Will Sanders threw against Clemson? So I think Sanders is the key player of the weekend. Obviously, the guy that I wanted to mention that certainly we have to is Andrew Reister, after what he did last year, and he's been your most clutch guy and off to a great start. Of course, man, you hit 2 walk-off knocks in back-to-back nights to win a series. I can guarantee you that's a dude Clemson's going to have their eye on all weekend. And man, you just think to yourself, is there any way he could come up in a situation like that again? You know what I mean? Could Andrew Reister really this weekend solidify himself as the ultimate Tiger killer? You know what I mean? Because, Reister doesn't matter what he does the rest of his career. He'll always be a legend for what he did last year. But can you even imagine if Eister's able to do something crazy and pull out some heroics yet again and help lead South Carolina to victory? So, again, I think the key player is Will Sanders. I think you've got to get a good outing, not even a good outing, a great outing. You need a great outing. He's got to go toe-to-toe with Mac Anglin and beat him. Bottom line, you've got to get that win tomorrow night at Founders Park. Again, Will Sanders, a guy, hey, I feel good handing the baseball to him, but he's got to throw a gem for you, bottom line. Which leads me, guys, into my prediction. And this one's tough because I went back and forth on it. And you guys know I've been talking shit all week. And listen, I feel good about the series. I really do. I don't understand right now, guys, the amount of South Carolina fans I'm seeing that are giving Clemson so much credit. And again, I'm not saying don't respect your opponent. That's not what I'm saying. But our South Carolina fans are acting like Clemson has swept Texas and they beat this. Clemson's done basically exactly what we've done, except they haven't lost a game. I don't know if it's because we haven't scored like 20 runs in a game or whatever, but I don't know. South Carolina fans are just giving Clemson way more credit than I'm comfortable with. I mean, you look at Clemson's starting rotation, guys, it's not great. Their Saturday guys got a 9.53 ERA, right? I mean, Clemson's got their own problems, guys. It's basically the same roster from last year that went 16-20 in the league. It's basically the same roster as last year that, as I mentioned earlier, was 9th in the ACC in scoring, 10th in ERA, and 11th in fielding percentage. The offense, the lineup, that has a huge question mark. People want to talk about us not swinging it under Mark Kingston. Guys, Clemson's lineup is it's a mess. It's a mess to a degree. That's not to say Clemson doesn't have some talented players, but they struggled last year. And I know they're off to an 8-0 start, but I mean, what did you expect? Did you expect them to lose to Hartford? Did you expect them to lose to Indiana? No. And again, as I told you guys, I feel like one of the most overused phrases in sports when it comes to rivalry games and rivalry series, whatever, is, throw the record books out the window. Because like in football, it's like, I hear you, but the better team is normally going to win, right? Like Clemson in football has been the better team. They've won the game, hadn't been close, right? That whole throw the record books out the window, that's just almost people trying to, when you can't come up with an actual reason why your team's going to win, you just say, it's a rivalry game, man. Just throw the record books out the window. It's like, it's still football and it's still a game where you have to execute, and the team with the bigger, faster, stronger players is normally going to win. But baseball is different. Baseball is different, right? It's not about how big you are and how strong you are and this, that, whatever, right? We know that. Baseball is different. The parity, the unpredictability, that's what makes it great. And again, I've gone back and forth on this because this is such an interesting weekend because both of these teams have talent but have so many questions still, right? Both of these teams have potential but have so many questions. They truly do, right? Both teams have pieces. And both teams have coaches that really need this weekend. Because again, it's not an indictment on your entire year. If South Carolina loses 2 or 3 this weekend, for example, but then they go take 2 or 3 from Texas or something, you can still have a good year. And the same goes for Clemson. The same goes for them. They lose 2 or 3 to us. They could, they go their first ACC weekend, and I don't know who they play. I think they got their schedule pulled up. They play Miami and they sweep Miami. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, we might still have a good year. So it's not an indictment one way or another, but you're not going to make a lot of friends losing this series. And both these coaches, again, I think hot seat is the wrong way to put it. I think competitive pressure is what both feel. Now, Monty Lee, I think, may even be more on the hot seat than Mark Kingston because they have not been very good, guys. And can you imagine if South Carolina baseball didn't make a super regional for a decade? Can you even fathom that? Over a decade, I can't even fathom it. Cannot even fathom it, right? So both teams need it. And again, I don't have to say that. It's the best rivalry in college baseball. It's a game. It's a series that you want to win desperately. Desperately. All eyes are on this 3-game set. Nothing else matters this weekend. And again, I've gone back and forth. I really think it's a coin flip. And this is it's going to pain me. It's going to pain me. It's going to hurt me. As I was putting together my notes, I should say, for this show, I said, God, just grinding my teeth. But at the end of the day, guys, I got to be real. And I got to keep it a buck, and I got to be 100, and I got to be honest, okay? And again, I think it's a coin flip. I think tomorrow night at Founders Park is going to be a classic. I think both guys will throw really well. I think that battle between Anglin and Sanders is going to be fantastic, one of the best we've seen in a while. It's going to be just a good old-fashioned pair of aces going up against one another, as you would expect on a Friday night in the Carolina-Clemson rivalry series. But I cannot, in good conscience, pick South Carolina to take 2 of 3 from Clemson when I don't even know who is starting Saturday or Sunday. How can I? Now, I want to make this point as well. This prediction is subject to change because, as you all know, one of the interesting curveballs of me dropping the series preview show on Thursdays is that, the full series previews from both sides come out on Thursday. So I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So a starting rotation, has not been announced. This prediction is subject to change if either Bosnick or Hicks or both can go. If they can go, if even one of two can go, I'm picking South Carolina to win 2 of 3. But as of right now, as I sit here and guys, I don't think they're going to go. From what I've heard, Julian Bosnick hasn't even started throwing. And James Hicks, man, I didn't think it was that serious at first. To be honest, I didn't think it was that serious. But when you're having to ask doctors for a second and third opinion, it's not normally because the news is good. Okay. And the rumor has been Tommy John. You hope that's not the case. But normally, that's not a good sign. So with that being said, my prediction's subject to change. I think the Gamecocks do win Friday night. I think they actually win tomorrow. I think at home, at Founders, the Rowdy Roosters will be out. I think Sanders throws a gem. I think you get the dub. I just question, and I know, hey, win anyway, guys. I'm making no excuses. I want to make that very clear because I'm sure there's Clemson folk that are tuned in. And as I said earlier in the week, if Clemson takes 2 of 3, if they sweep, I will not make a single excuse because you know what? I don't give a damn about an injury. I don't care if you got it. I don't care who's not in. I don't care who's out. South Carolina baseball, the motto is win anyway. So go win anyway. I don't care. But when making a prediction, I have to factor in who's available and who's not. And because of the fact that you don't even know who's throwing Saturday and Sunday as of now, I got to pick Clemson to win 2 out of 3. And again, it pains me. I didn't think I'd be in this position. I'm not sure I've ever picked Clemson to win 2 out of 3 in this series. But this year with the question marks, we don't even know who's going. And again, it's subject to change. If Hicks or Boz can somehow miraculously go, it's subject to change. But because of the question marks, just the amount of uncertainty, guys, and I don't think Clemson's a great baseball team, but I think these two teams are, as of right now, kind of similar in the uncertainties. I think it's going to make for an incredible weekend of baseball. I think it's going to make for a very exciting weekend of baseball. But I just think right now I have to give the nod to Clemson because of they have more knowns than we do, at least on the bump, right? So, hey, I think it's a toss-up, man. It's a coin flip. If you can swing the shit out of it, I feel like that certainly you can take 2 out of 3. There's no doubt in my mind. But I think right now, again, and there's no excuses, like I said. You roll with the guys you got, you go win anyway. Bottom line, point blank, in the story, there are no excuses. Absolutely none. There are no excuses. But with that being said, I've got Clemson taking 2 out of 3 in this one. I just think, again, your arms or lack thereof, unfortunately, I think it might show this weekend. And the question is, can your sticks do enough? And I just don't know if they're going to win you 2 games. They're going to win you 1. I think they're certainly going to win you 1. I think Will Sanders will win you 1. Can they win you 2? I don't know. So again, right now I'm going Clemson. Lock me in. Tigers take 2 of 3 to take the rivalry series. But again, guys, it's a coin flip. It can go either way. And Rowdy Roosters, let's give these sons of bitches from the upstate hell all weekend. I'm talking heckling. I'm talking everything. Have the heckle juice flowing all day long. I want the heckle juice flowing from the start of Friday all the way into the final pitch. The final out is made on Sunday. Let's do the damn thing. Going to be a hell of a weekend. I would love to hear your thoughts, your predictions, your comments, what you're looking for as we get set for the best rivalry in all of college baseball. Folks, again, appreciate you all tuning in. That's going to do it all for me. Again, I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for your love and support, guys. All those who came out to Tin Roof, all those who interacted up in Charlotte, and just continue to show love and support to the business, man. It's incredible. Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Let's get set for one hell of a weekend. South Carolina and Clemson. I cannot wait. I cannot freaking wait. You all have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Don't go anywhere, though. We got a fantastic combo upcoming, but enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy this conversation with former Gamecocks infielder Joey Pankake.
All right, joining us today on the Spurs Up Show is a man that played for Gamecocks baseball from 2012 to 2014. He was a career .292 hitter for the Gamecocks, hit 18 home runs, 100 RBIs, and was silky smooth in the field for South Carolina at shortstop. He was also drafted in the 2014 MLB draft in the 7th round by the Detroit Tigers, where he spent a long career in the minor leagues. I'm very, very excited to welcome the show former Gamecock shortstop Joey Pankake. Joey, appreciate you taking the time, man. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about all things Gamecocks and Gamecock baseball especially.
Absolutely. So, Joey, let's start with this. You're a kid from Easley, South Carolina. You played your high school baseball at Easley High School, and you were a guy obviously coming up in high school. You got to South Carolina in fall of 2011, but you were a guy that while you were in high school, South Carolina was in the beginning of their run winning back-to-back national titles. I'll just ask you, throughout your recruitment process, with being a South Carolina kid, the success that South Carolina had, was it ever a doubt for you that you were going to be a Gamecock?
Well, I don't know if you recall, but I was initially committed to the College of Charleston, and then I had a little bit of a change of heart when I guess it was right about the time South Carolina was in their making their first national championship run, and they kind of got my attention, and I just had a change of plans, so I ended up at South Carolina, and it was a dream come true, really.
Did you grow up a South Carolina fan, or was that just something just kind of came about when South Carolina started having that success? Just like you said, started paying more attention and decided to come to Columbia.
Yeah, I've always been a South Carolina fan. It was tough being there and easily being so close to Clemson, and I have a lot of family that are Clemson fans, but I've always been a Gamecock, and I always will be.
No doubt. So you get on campus, like I said, fall of 2011. 2012 is your first season. I know, again, you were a guy that you were actually taken in the 2011 MLB draft in the 42nd round by the Texas Rangers, a guy that was a very highly rated recruit, rated the number 1 shortstop in the state of South Carolina, the number 3 best high school prospect in the state of South Carolina. Just talk about what the transition was like for you, going from high school baseball, going from high school life to college life, college baseball, SEC baseball especially. What was that transition like for you, would you say?
Oh, man, it was I had the opportunity to play with a lot of great players that fall coming in, so that really helped before opening day came about. And a couple of them kind of took me under their wing, Michael Roth being one of them. He was there to help me with the off-the-field stuff, talk about class and just everyday life. And I guess I had a pretty good mentor. He was a pretty good Gamecock, I'd say, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. And but the game itself is just so much faster in college. I remember the first ground ball that was hit to me on opening day, and I kind of took my time and had to rush the throw a little bit, and the guy almost beat it out, and I was like, oh boy, I better pick it up a little bit. They didn't really hit me until then. But it was a pretty good transition. I also had some really good coaches to help me along the way.
For sure. So talk about for you, Joey, I think pressure may be the wrong word, but maybe I guess the pressure you may have felt, you're coming into a program who, needs a starting shortstop. Obviously, that was very evident in how much you played. You played in all, you played in 66 games, started 62 of them. So you played in a ton of games for South Carolina, started as a true freshman, but you're coming into a program, needs a starting shortstop. This program has won back-to-back national championships, and the expectations, are simply to get back to Omaha and do it all again. Did you feel the pressure of that, or was that almost kind of a, was something you embraced when you got to Columbia?
It's something you just have to embrace. The pressure is going to be there. Obviously the team really wants to go back to Omaha. That's our goal every year, is to make the postseason and put a good run together and get to Omaha. But Coach Tanner did a really good job of kind of taken that pressure away, just taking it one series at a time and not looking too far ahead. And he never really put that on us like, hey, we have to get here or our season's no good. He just wanted us to go out and play the best that we could and and that kind of helped, and we got the results that we wanted that year.
For sure. So you mentioned Coach Tanner. Like I've had a bunch of different guys that have played for Coach Tanner in different eras. I think it's always interesting to hear kind of their interactions, relationships with him, if you will. Talk about what Coach Tanner meant to you and I guess your relationship with him then and now.
Oh, Coach Tanner was awesome from the day I got on campus. He always shot you straight. There was never he didn't hold anything back. He always knew where you stood, and he looked you eye to eye, and he would tell you exactly what he was thinking. So I respected that a lot. He was a big part of helping my transition into college, and he was also a big part of getting me back into college. When I called him and told him that I wanted to come back and finish up school once I was finished with baseball, he got me in touch with the right people, and it happened right away.
For sure. So as a hitter, you came in, Joey, obviously rated the number one shortstop in high school, but I watched a little bit of your, some of the highlights of you in high school. You pitched as well. I mean, was it always the plan for you to be a shortstop, be an infielder? Did you come in as kind of a two-way guy? What was the plan for you? What did they lay out the plan for you when you got there?
We talked a little bit about the pitching side of it, but I always knew that I wanted to hit, and they wanted me to hit. They wanted me to play shortstop, and it just kind of worked out that way. We had some really good arms while I was here, and I wasn't really needed to throw any, so I got to focus all on shortstop, and that helped me out a lot in the field. Some of these guys that do play two positions, they got a really tough workload, and I'm kind of surprised that they're able to do it at that level. More power to those guys, but I'm glad I got to focus on shortstop.
No doubt. So, Joey, we have to get to the point in the interview. I would be very, very – I can't miss out on the opportunity to ask you about National Pancake Day, something that I'm sure, you guys in a 2-1 win over Presbyterian, you hit a home run, which happened to be on National Pancake Day. I guess the first question is, I'm sure when you hit that home run and it happened to fall on that day. I mean, it's a fact. Your name is Pancake. Your last name is Pancake. We can't ignore that fact. But I mean, how much did you think about it in that moment? And then, I mean, how crazy was it to see it grow to what it is now? Because I feel like it's like the running joke where, each player has something that every time they're mentioned, there's the footnote that comes with it. And with you, it is now at the bat for the Gamecocks, Joey Pankake. Oh, by the way, did you know he hit a home run on National Pancake Day? Like, how funny was that to see that kind of evolve like that?
Honestly, I didn't even think about it in the moment. It wasn't until I think it was probably the next day. It could have been that night. You started seeing things on Twitter and all this, and then I guess it was our next televised game. A bunch of my friends were like, if they talk about this one more time, I'm going to go crazy. And it was just one of those things, but I really didn't think about it in the moment. But now it's still a thing to this day. Every year, whenever the day is, what is it, in March sometime or something like that? My Twitter just kind of goes crazy. Everybody still has a good time with it, so I get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, February 28th is the day. I know that they did an interview with you. I believe it was after some time, or I know you had said you go to IHOP and get pancakes on National Pancake Day. Is that still something you partake in or no?
No, I got tired of waiting in lines. I'd rather go another day when I don't have to wait so long.
No doubt. So I want to talk about that 2012 season. Very good one for you, Joey. Like I said, started basically every game for South Carolina. You made SEC All-Freshman team. You were also NCAA Regional All-Tournament team. But I want to talk about on the road to get there. One of my favorite pictures from the 2012 season, and especially of you as well, is the picture of you after LB Dantzler hits the walk-off hit against Clemson in the regionals, you holding up your arm, touching home plate. I think that's when we put up during Clemson Carolina week for the baseball series. Just talk about the rivalry. I mean, it's the best rivalry in college baseball, no doubt. Talk about your experiences in the rivalry, being able to beat those guys on the way to the College World Series as well.
Yeah, that's always a fun series. And then to be able to match up with them in the postseason, and we beat them twice that year, I believe. And that was awesome to be able to beat them twice in the postseason and have that success against them. And I was just blessed to be there in that situation, and LB got the big hit. And I mean, I don't remember a more electric environment than Carolina Stadium that day. Well, I guess Founders Park now, but it was unbelievable. That was awesome.
Would you say that was your best memory from the Carolina Clemson rivalry? Because obviously, as we know, it is high emotion, high intensity. I mean, there's a lot of jawing back and forth. But would you say that tops the list as far as memories from the Carolina Clemson rivalry?
Yeah, I would have to say so. I believe that was the same game that I had a long at bat and ended up hitting the tie and run in. I believe it was the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs to keep that game going. And I came up again later that game and LB got the hit. So all of that into one, that was a pretty good experience all around, especially my first year as a Gamecock.
For sure. So, like I mentioned, your freshman year, you hit 264, 2 homers, 27 RBIs, and I already mentioned the accolades. What do you think led to you having such a smooth transition, coming in and playing at that level? And again, you were part of a team that went all the way to the College World Series final. What would you attribute to, such a quick and smooth transition for you?
Like I said earlier, the group of guys that I got to play with that year, it was crazy. We all came together really well. All the veterans that were there, like Christian Walker and Evan Marzilli, Michael Roth, Matt Price, all those guys. They took us younger guys in like we were one of them, and we ended up being one of them really soon. It was an incredible transition, and also the coaching staff. I got to work with Drew Meyer a lot, one-on-one that year. I mean, he was unbelievable baseball player, great knowledge about the game. So working with him was awesome, and that's what helped me probably the most, being able to work with him, pick his brain a little bit, and get all the extra work in that he would come out there and help me with.
For sure. So like I mentioned, you were part of that team, went to the College World Series finals in 2012. Just, as a guy that's been there, not every single college baseball player gets to go to Omaha. Really not many do. Just, I know you guys didn't get the ultimate prize that you wanted, but I mean, just kind of talk about your experience in Omaha and what that was like for you.
I mean, it was something that the guys that had been there, because obviously they went there 2 years before for both years, and they talked about it on the times leading up, like, hey, we got to get back here. You won't believe the environment and all that. And they talked it up to be unbelievable and great and just fantastic. And then you get there and it exceeds everything that they say. It was the environment was absolutely incredible. It was just great baseball fans all around. There was no booing. They just cheered for the game of baseball mainly.
For sure. So moving into 2013, Joey, again, South Carolina at this point has won 2 national titles, been to 3 straight national title appearances, which I think 2012 honestly is slept on by a lot of people because, the back-to-back national championships gets mentioned, but making it all the way there, even if you don't win, I mean, you guys ran into a red-hot Arizona team that obviously had a ton of talent. That one doesn't get talked about as much. Do you think people sleep on the 2012 team at all? Because, again, I just feel like it doesn't, because it's overshadowed by the back-to-back national titles. But again, to make it there 3 years in a row is something special.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, but we started out 1-5 in the SEC that year. We went on the road and got swept by Kentucky, and then lost 2 out of 3 at home to Florida. And then we won a crazy amount of SEC games in a row after that. We had several sweeps, and I don't know if we lost another SEC series until LSU came. I think LSU came to us that year for the SEC title, and we lost 2 out of 3 to them at home. I think that might have been the last one we lost.
Yeah, you guys finished the season 18-11 in the SEC, which was good enough to be the Eastern Division champions. So again, 2012 was a very, very good year for you guys. I'll move to 2013. I mean, again, it's a program that's won 2 national titles, been to 3 straight. I mean, I don't even think I have to ask, Joey. The expectations were pretty simple. Get back to Omaha and win it all, right?
Yeah. And then after being there, that made the guys that had already been there want to be there that much more. So when playing that long into the season, you feel like it was my sophomore season, but I felt like an older player than that, just having that experience under my belt at that point.
No doubt. So, Joey, you're actually the first guy that I've had on the show that's played for South Carolina baseball that went through the transition from Ray Tanner to Chad Holbrook. Obviously, after the 2012 season, Ray Tanner decides to step down from Gamecocks baseball, becomes the athletic director, and Chad Holbrook takes over as head coach. Were you surprised at all? I mean, did that catch you by surprise that Ray Tanner decided to hang up the cleats, if you will, as far as coaching was concerned?
A little bit, just mainly because I know how much he loves the game of baseball, and even the games that I go back now, I went to a few this year, and I saw him at every single one of them. So I don't think that's any coincidence. He still loves the game of baseball. He just had a different career opportunity, and he decided to pursue that. But I thought we were in good hands either way.
Yeah, talk about Chad Holbrook obviously taking over again. I mean, 2013 was a good year for you guys again, especially for you personally. You guys go 43-20, 17-12. I mean, you know, you didn't miss a beat at all. Hit 311, 11 homers, 42 RBIs. I'm not sure if you'd agree, but statistically, your best year as a Gamecock. I mean, but talk about your head coach, Chad Holbrook. I mean, I've talked to some others before who, you know, obviously everyone speaks very highly of Chad Holbrook. There's a reason he got the job. It was on the staff at North Carolina when they went to the national title, obviously on the staff at South Carolina when they went back-to-back national titles. I mean, you guys had to feel really good about not only the relationships he had built with all the players, but had to feel good about him taking over just in general.
Yeah. He's been a part of several like very successful teams. So I thought he was the guy that was right for the job, and it was good timing for him. He had all of his guys there that he had brought in, and he got to lead us into battle, and we had a good season. We just came up a game short of making it a trip back to Omaha. We had a couple of balls not fall our way and had a couple of errors that hurt us in that last game. But I'd say it was a pretty good first season for him, making it to the last game of a super regional.
Yep, no doubt. And I want to get to that series in just a second, Joey, but let's talk about you personally because, like I mentioned, you absolutely tore it up. I mean, 311, 11 homers, 42 ribbies, absolutely crushed it. Talk about kind of what the changes were from your freshman to sophomore year to make such a jump, I guess, and just really what clicked for you in 2013.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to give a lot of credit to my hitting coach, Brian Busher, who I'm coaching with him now. His hitting philosophies and all that that go with it are really good, and he knows how to translate it to the players, and it just clicked with me. I had a good season at the plate that year, and I don't think I could have done it alone. So him and the other coaches as well, they did a really good job of helping me out that year.
For sure. So kind of off the wall question here, Joey. I think it's kind of funny. Even South Carolina's best teams in school history, for whatever reason, South Carolina has struggled in Hoover. For whatever reason, the SEC tournament. While you were there, you guys went 1-7 in Hoover. The only time y'all won a game was 2012. You beat Auburn in the second game when Michael Roth pitched. No shock. And but just, I mean, do you have any explanation to why Hoover has been such a house of horrors for Carolina? I mean, is it something specifically about Hoover, you think?
I don't have an answer for that. It was just something that I remember when we won that game in 2012, everybody was really surprised that we won a game. And it wasn't that we didn't want to win. I mean, we were always threatened every year if we don't play well, we're headed back, and we got two-a-days starting the next day. So it wasn't that we didn't want to win. I don't know what it is about that place. That place, it's cursed. No wins for South Carolina there.
Yeah, like I said, even the best teams, while you were there 2012, but 2010, 2011, does not matter which South Carolina team. It's always a tough go there. But, yeah, like you mentioned earlier, another very, very good year for South Carolina. Again, you guys sweep through the regional. I mean, really take care of business, and then go up to Chapel Hill for the super regional. Lose game 1, 6-5, win game 2, 8-0. And then lose in a really, really close ball game, 5-4 in game 3. You talked about, like you said, there were a couple balls that kind of dropped in, a couple errors. Just, talk about, I know definitely that series had to mean a little bit extra because it's sort of the border war, if you will, with South Carolina and North Carolina, the battle of the two Carolinas. But just talk about that series, and I guess, just kind of try to explain in words just how tough it was to, like you mentioned, just fall a game short.
Yeah, it was really tough. We came out and lost the first one, and then Jordan Montgomery, I think he went a complete game shutout the second game, if I remember correctly. And then I remember there was I can't remember how many days, but we got rained out like 2 or 3 days in a row, and I don't know if it was just something that we just lost focus from being there for so long or what happened, but we didn't play our best game the last game, and it showed. I think if we play our best game, we're in another College World Series that year.
No doubt. So moving into 2014, Joey, again, your junior season hit 303, 5 homers, 31 RBIs. I'll ask this question simply, going into the 2014 season, how much, if any, was the MLB draft on your mind? Because I know your junior season is really the year to go out there, ball out. You have all the leverage, obviously, as a junior. You really, if you can, you don't want to wait till a senior to sign with a pro team. How much, if any, was that on your mind when you went into your junior year?
I mean, it's always in the back of your mind. I guess it was every year though, because that's always the dream. We all wanted to play in the big leagues, so. It was there, but you just got to try not to let it affect the way you play and your attitude, because you got to remember you're still there for your team. Team sport. You want to be a good team player and do everything you can to help the team win. So, but I'd be lying if you said none of us thought about it, because everybody does, because it is that dream that everybody wants.
No doubt. So the 2014 season, again, it's funny. I think, again, people only focus on 2010, 2011, but they forget just how good every single team you were on as well, after those national title years. Again, 44-18, 18-12 in conference. Unfortunately, you guys ran into, Florida had a really good year that year. They went 21-9. I guess before I get into the posting, I'm curious to hear from you as well, Joey. I feel like the battles between South Carolina and Florida and South Carolina and Vanderbilt, really just through all at the SEC. Those were some great baseball games. Just talk about playing in the SEC in those matchups, because, again, better than anybody, Joey, every single, for example, Friday night. You're facing a guy that's, going to the big leagues or getting drafted and has an opportunity, going to have a chance to be in the big leagues. I'm sure there's plenty of guys that you faced throughout your college career who are still pitching, making a living doing it. Just talk about what that grind is like of playing SEC baseball.
Yeah, it was tough. Going back to 2012, you get to see I'm trying to think of all the guys that really stood out. And, 2 of them were at LSU, Kevin Gosman and Aaron Nola. Those are 2 pretty good arms, and they're probably going to pitch for several more years. Then you got Tyler Beatty at Vanderbilt and all those guys, man. There's tons of arms in the SEC, and it'll make you grow up real quick, because you're facing grown men at that point. They're all up there throwing 95, 96, and it's big transition to that.
For sure. So the 2014 season, I want to mention as well, you were named to the SEC All-Defensive Team, Joey. You were always a really, really good player in the field for South Carolina. You only made 10 errors in 2014. Talk about, I guess, just because you talked about you're a hitter, you wanted to hit, but talk about your approach in the field. And I guess I feel like I'd imagine you're a guy that took a lot of pride in your defense as well.
Well, that's what I had to work at the most. I was more gifted hitting than I was fielding, and it showed at times, and I knew I had to put in the work and just go out there and play with more confidence and just let the results happen.
For sure. So that 2014 season, again, did not end the way that you guys wanted it to. Again, you lose 2 in Hoover and then lose out in the regionals, which is something which was something that hadn't happened in Columbia in a long time. You guys lose to Maryland there. Again, not to, obviously it's a sour note, but just talk about, again, how to try to summarize how tough it is to the people listening. You come to South Carolina of College World Series dreams, winning it all, and then to lose out to end your career at South Carolina. I'm sure that had to be a tough pill to swallow, even though you were following with the draft and had gotten drafted, stuff like that. I'm sure that was a tough pill to swallow for you emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, that one hurt. That one hurt really bad. Almost as bad as getting so close to winning a national championship and losing. I mean, all losses hurt, and nobody likes to lose, but that one was really up there. I thought it was a regional that we probably could have won or should have won, and we just fell a little bit short. We didn't play our best baseball, and we didn't get the timely hits that we'd been getting that whole year, and things didn't go our way.
No doubt. So you were drafted again 7th round in the 2014 MLB draft by the Detroit Tigers. I mean, simply put, it's something you've worked for your entire life. You get the call. Just kind of try to put into words what that day was like when you get the call and kind of what your emotions were.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting at home, and I got the call, and I was really excited. I couldn't wait to get on a plane. I mean, it was tough knowing that I wasn't going to be back playing at South Carolina the next year here in Columbia. I mean, as close as I had gotten with everybody here, but I knew it was something that I wanted to do and that I wanted to get into right away.
No doubt. So we talked about earlier, Joey, your transition from high school to college. Obviously, it's another huge jump to make from college to professional baseball, even when you're at low A, single A, high A, double A, any of the MLB, whatever. Talk about what the transition was like for you, because, again, you're going from SEC baseball to pro baseball. You're going from playing every, couple days to every single day. I mean, just talk about what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, that was the hardest part, playing every single day. Being able to show up and get your body healthy and keep your body healthy to play every day. From going from playing maybe five games a week to every single day. Sometimes I think the longest stretch I had in my first season of pro ball, I think we went like 28 days in a row with a game, which is just absolutely. Looking back at it now, I don't know how my body stayed healthy at all, but it was fun. It was fun. I had a really good team that I was a part of my first 2 seasons, and we had some really successful seasons those years.
Yeah, no, so you were with Connecticut to start out with in low A, did well there, hit 292 for those guys. 2015 West Michigan in single A ball, did really well again, 268. Then went up to high A with Lakeland for your last 2 seasons. When you look back on your minor league career, just kind of summarize it for you. When you look back on it now, I mean, what are your thoughts on how your minor league career panned out?
I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really good people. I learned a lot about baseball, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to share that with some of the younger guys here in Columbia now. And now that I'm coaching a little bit and helping out some guys, but just learning a lot and getting that experience, it was really great. I got to see a lot of cool places as well.
And the stories from the minor leagues, as far as the bus rides and peanut butter and jellies, just let everybody. I know for a fact. I know you can probably explain that. That's definitely not something that is just kind of cliche talk about the minors. That is real life. That was real life for you guys every single day, pretty much, I'd imagine.
Oh, 100%. That's real life. It was every single day. I've never eaten more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my life.
For sure.
I still think I'm like scared. I don't make them anymore. I've made them every day for so long. I'm like, man, I got to take a couple of years off from this.
For sure. So again, 2017 was your last year with Lakeland at high A. You played in 77 games, hit 195 that year, and decided to hang up the cleats after that season. Just talk about, I know you dealt with injuries and things of that nature, Joey, but talk about just how tough it was to make the decision, pull the trigger and hang up the cleats.
Well, I played and I had 4 seasons and had a lot of fun, but the injuries that I dealt with the last couple of years, that definitely made it a lot easier to not play anymore. Not being able to keep your body healthy for a full season, it's kind of terrible being on the DL for so long and just hanging out in rehab.
For sure. So I know, Joey, you're still involved in the game of baseball. You talked about before your coaching. We talked off air, talked about your coaching youth baseball. Just kind of let South Carolina fans, everybody know sort of what you've been up to and, where you're coaching at nowadays.
I help out over at Heathwood Hall here in Columbia. I'm the head coach of the B team and then help out with the varsity team. Other than that, we've been running some camps in the summer and coaching a little bit of travel ball. I got a 12 and under team this summer that I'm really excited to coach. We just had our first tournament this past weekend.
Nice. What would you say as far as coaching? I mean, is that something that you, kind of want to stick in, find a career in, or just kind of have a career in, be a head coach somewhere someday? Or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it's going to take me, but I do enjoy it. I love being able to help out the little guys and teach them a little bit about baseball.
No doubt. So, Joey, real quick before we let you go, your favorite memory. I know there's so many good memories, especially from that 2012 team in Omaha, but if you had to pick one, your favorite memory as a Gamecock while you played for South Carolina.
Oh, it's got to be the dog call after we beat Oklahoma to go to the World Series. That's got to be it. That was incredible.
For sure. So lastly, Joey, before I let you go, I can't let you go without asking, obviously you played for Ray Tanner. We've heard some hilarious Ray Tanner stories. Do you have any Ray Tanner stories that you can tell on the air that he wouldn't mind you sharing with us?
Well, I remember one time he told me I was the worst freshman he's ever coached in his entire coaching career. And I still don't understand to this day because he's the one that writes the line of how he put me in there so many times.
That is awesome. Well, Joey, really do appreciate you taking the time again, man. I know I can speak for all South Carolina fans when I say it was a pleasure to watch you play shortstop for Carolina. Again, a lot of good memories, and again, really appreciate the time. Best of luck with Heathwood Hall, and would love to have you back on, my man.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it.